Keep your powder dry, folks.
All right, here we are with GunsInThe701.com. I'm Mike, going solo tonight, and well, I'm trying to make sure everything's working. We're having a few technical glitches on a few things, but that's all right. We'll get it done. Clay is out. Hayne, Jamie is out as well. Vance is out busy, and everybody's got something going on today. Me, I got nothing else going on, so I've got some good stuff for you today as we get into, of course, GunsInThe701.com. Want to make sure that you know that we're having some problems with YouTube. CommieTube has decided because of something Jamie did the other day that is nothing, but they don't understand that, and it's impossible to contact somebody there. They put a little block on us. So we've got some alternatives for YouTube. So you can always go to Mike Deacons. Mike Deacons is on there. Clay's on there as well if you know his, and give that a check. Also, check out our Twitch. Our Twitch is up and running. If you haven't tried out Twitch yet, well, I'll go ahead and tell you it is actually pretty good, pretty clear as well. And we are basically kind of just working it out here real quickly, trying to see where any of the comments are so far. I've got 2 people watching, but we'll wait to see. No comments as of yet, but we'll see who's here and who's watching today. Hopefully everything's going all right. We're going to try to get through all the Facist-book and CommieTube's problems that they're giving. It's just indicative of what social media is becoming, as a matter of fact. Of course, they are trying to strangle some free speech stuff, and this is how it's working at the present moment. Now, as I continue to try to keep up to date, Twitch is up. Yeah, we have Guns in the 701 is up, episode 101 on my YouTube page, but we'll continue to keep an eye on that. But before we get to anything else, as we do when we start off every single show, well, we've got to start it off with this. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And there's a reason for that, because as we can see, our rights are being infringed left and right. And when they take away the second, the other ones will fall. Now we continue to see, we're showing up some people here on Facebook. So well, hopefully that will continue, and we'll see if we got any comments in here as well. Boy, it's just really just kind of funky tonight. So yeah, we're trying to check out everything right here. Still waiting to see what's going on with a lot of stuff. Hey, by the way, we've got our great sponsors helping us out, making sure this show is possible here on GunsInThe701.com. And we want to say a big thanks to all of them real quick. Of course, we've got Lauer Auto Repair at 309 South Washington Street, and our good friend Axel there as well. Bloodline Kinetics, one of our newer sponsors, been helping us out quite a bit, and we had a great response for the big giveaways we did on the 100th episode, and also what Jamie did on 701 Nation. Also, we've got our good friends at Little Angry Man LLC, Little Angry Man Arms LLC. I got to tell you, friend, we are still working on your commercial. We've got the audio done. Clay has been out in fields, in and out, and broken machinery and all kinds of stuff going on with that. So that is made things a little difficult to get some stuff done. In the winter, we get the stuff done pretty easy, but we'll get your commercial on the way, and hopefully we'll have it going by middle of next week. Also, don't forget Mandan Sporting Goods. Of course, got the new location. We're going to be fixing that commercial here soon too, but we've got on the bottom scroller, you'll see it come by the new location's address as well. We've also got, of course, our good friends right there at Double H, who sponsor over at Jamie's side at 701 Nation. And we do appreciate all of you guys helping us out, making sure the podcast continues. You see that IR code up there at the very top? Remember, you can always check out that thing for donations to us to help us with studio times, also with more equipment, because the Lord knows we're getting better at it, but sometimes it's a little difficult. Also, you want to make sure that you check out GunsInThe701.com for all our merch and more. Hey, we've got a lot going on. Hey, we've got some people helping us see. Clay's helping me out here real quick. We'll see if we can get me on where everybody can see me here in just a bit. Like I said, I'm trying to see multiple pages. We've got over there on Twitch. Like I said, it looks good. Yeah, I got Clay out there turning in from the hayfield. So Clay's out there right now, and of course, watching us while he's on the tractor. Now, we want to go over a few things for us for tonight. Some of the things on our agenda for tonight. Well, there's been some big moves in the Supreme Court and around the country this week. But there's also been some non-moves. We've got the Supreme Court declined to hear a series of challenges to laws barring felons and drug users from having guns. That's one thing. They didn't want to touch that one. They backed off on that. Now, here's the one thing that I've always said is it's a fine line on that of not wanting felons to have guns, not wanting drug users to have guns. And as much as they're legalizing things like marijuana and all that, having those minor drug offenses on your thing shouldn't keep you from any of that stuff. But I digress. One of the things, though, is that it's a good way for the government to get people on the list of not being able to carry a gun by giving them these minor infraction laws that basically make them a criminal. They want to make us criminals in many different ways. And they want us to all be FFL dealers and everything else. They'll find some way to make you a criminal. And with that, of course, maybe we need to look at these laws barring ex-cons and ex-drug users as well. So we'll continue to see that. Clay was rolling up the hay. Now, on the Supreme Court said on Tuesday, it won't take up the challenged parts of the federal law to bar convicted felons and drug users. Now, that decision came days after the High Court upheld a separate provision of the same federal disarmament law in the biggest Second Amendment case to reach the justices in 2 years. The court's majority said restrictions on domestic abusers possessing firearms was constitutional because it was in line with tradition of firearms regulations, disarming dangerous individuals. Go with that. Also, of course, we're waiting to see what more they do. I wanted to talk about the changes. What is it? Shoot, I got to remember what Clay said. It was some of the things they changed on the Supreme Court, basically deregularizing or making sure that a lot of these federal agencies can't just go ahead and issue out their own laws. They still now have to go through Congress. So they made it more difficult for things like the ATF and other groups like that to just run, their own things down the pipe and not take it through Congress for actual laws. That gray area. I mean, you're sending people to jail and whatnot because somebody, a pencil pusher out there, decided that he wanted to change some rules here and there, but didn't go through the law part of it. But somehow you still end up being in trouble. Well, with that in mind, of course, they were waiting to see on that. Clay knows more about that side than any of us, and we'll be talking about that coming up. Hopefully, Clay gets done rolling out some of that stuff, and we can talk more about it. The court sent challenges to the federal firearms ban back down to the lower courts with instructions to review the case in light of the ruling of last month's U.S. versus Rami. In that case, well, we're talking about Justice Chief Roberts writing an 8-1 majority said that the 2022 ruling from the courts that changed the framework of federal courts must use when examining the nation's gun laws did not necessarily lock lower courts into striking down any gun laws that didn't have a direct historic analog. Now, historic analog means that I guess what they're saying is like the 1934 Weapons Act and this and that and others they've passed throughout the years that there's no way to really go up against those right now. But they're working on it. I don't know. It's kind of was waiting for an actual decision on that. I mean, we've got a president and an administration now that is actively working to take away guns from law-abiding citizens, and yet the ability to do it to criminals is non-existent. As a matter of fact, criminals don't even really stay in jail for very long. I mean, they basically get to go in if they even have a bail. they pay whatever the small amount is or go through a bond agency, and then they're back out on the streets doing the same thing they were doing before. Whereas with you and me and other people who are out there, of course, doing law abiding, when they go up against us, they throw the federal courts at us. And what are we doing? We end up spending and putting our house into debt and everything else, and our kids' money for college all going to keep us out of jail and go to court and pay the fines and pay this and that. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, it continues on. Of course, the Supreme Court kind of kicking down the road some of this stuff, but we're waiting to see what's going to happen. And it could be big with the election coming up in November. Now, that's the other side on this, too, is that this has been a terrible week for the Dems, and I really can't feel bad about that. They have a bad image problem with them, and you've got a lot of people out there saying they need to go a different direction. And that's a difficult thing for a lot of them to hear. Of course, this close to an election, especially one that is this close. So we'll wait and see what's going to happen with that. And we got 4 people in there. Of course, some more people here. Chevron case. Thank you very much. Of course, that Chevron case. That's what I was trying to think of on that. So, yeah, Clay knows more about that because he reads more than me and he's smart. Trying to see also over on Twitch and on our other things. We've got some comments over there as well, but nothing, just pretty much hello and how you doing right now. So, well, we'll wait and see. Of course, yeah, man, I'll tell you what, they have really messed with us pretty seriously when it comes to our streaming platforms at the moment. And I'll tell you, it's absolutely, hey, One Shot Cap is here. We do appreciate you tuning in. We're finally getting some people rolling. And like I said, we got a lot of problems. We got to go through some of those backup things. Facebook is making it more and more difficult every day for our shows to go on streaming there. Of course, we are over on Rumble, I do believe. I've got to make sure I think we're over on Rumble. Maybe I got to refresh that and take a look, but I'm not so sure about that at the present moment. So Clay's much better at this than I am when it comes to getting all those connections done, but we'll continue to go through it. The Supreme Court thing, yeah, we've talked about that. Chevron is going to be a big one that we're going to talk about Friday with KFYR and, of course, Mitchell in the morning. We'll be talking about that because Clay's got all the information on it as well. And there'll be more to come with that as we move along. Also, last week, when we did last week's show on Wednesday, we were talking about the Second Amendment and what does it mean. And I got to tell you, I thought about that, and Clay, of course, did some good explaining to people on what the Second Amendment means. And sometimes these things aren't always as easy to read right here on our page, but we talk about it. Terms explained, a well-regulated militia refers to a government organized force of citizen soldiers for defense of the state, subject to a plan of organization, arms, and discipline. See, it makes more sense when you learn this stuff. Security of a free state refers to security against invasion, insurrection, civil unrest for the protection of public liberty. That's in our own towns. And that means we don't just sit around on our butts hoping that the government's going to come and save us. No, that means we take the active role in our communities to make sure that things run safe. The people, under our complex federal system of the people, has 3 meanings in the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, the people of each state, or individuals, which means is the use determined by context. Now, in a case of the people's right to keep and bear arms, it means that the people, as a collective representative by state legislators, that is, the states, keep and bear arms, refer to the maintaining and arming militias, keep in military readiness, public defense. Like we said earlier with the references to the top, once again, protecting your community, not only your state, but your direct community. Keep and bear arms, referring to maintaining and arming military. We said that. Shall not be infringed. And we've always said on that part, I mean, that's a pretty clear statement. Shall not be infringed. 27 words in this thing, but those are probably the most important. This is the term of art for protecting the sovereign or public rights. In contrast to abridged, the term of art is used in the First Amendment to protect individual or private rights. Now, shall not be infringed. I mean, that usually would sound pretty clear to a reasonable person, but sometimes we're not dealing with reasonable people. We have to remember that. Also, as I continue through here, once again, of course, it's just Mike today. So Mike's going to go off on a few tangents here and there, and Clay's going to help me out when he can, when he's back out of the fields from haying. And we do appreciate everybody being very helpful with us on this today. Of course, Cap, we thank you for joining us. We got to see who else on other pages. Speaking about the Supreme Court, once again, we were talking about that. On a side note, and I got to see if I can find this real quick, because I pulled this up and I think I got this. The problem is it's not very easy to read. So let me go over it for you real quick. In a recent statement by Thomas, Justice Thomas, talking about Second Amendment and more, the Seventh Circuit's decision illustrates why the court must provide more guidance on which weapons the Second Amendment covers. By controlling what little guidance our precedents provide, the Seventh Circuit concluded that the Second Amendment does not protect militaristic weapons. I mean, weapons. I mean, that should be a word right there, whether it be an AR or a hatchet or whatever. A weapon is a weapon, and it can be used in a military fashion. Now, in the, of course, defined militaristic weapons as those that may reserve for military use. The Seven Circuit's contrived non-militaristic limitations on the arms protected by the Second Amendment seems to unmoor from both the text and history. That is from Justice Thomas this past week in a dissent, you might say, from the Seventh Circuit, which basically used vague language. And that Seventh Circuit, then when they use the vague language, what happens is that they have broader powers, they feel, in order to encroach upon our Second Amendment rights. So with that in mind, we've got to always keep in mind that there's active people out there every day of the year, active people out there trying to chip away at the Constitution, at the first 10, and then on after that. And we just really have to be alert. And as we've said many times on this show, voting for the national elections, you should be out there. For those people who don't vote, the people always say, my vote doesn't matter, or I didn't like the candidates, or blah, 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 whatever it is. You know, there are times when I almost think that, you know, there should be some thing. I always have thought that we should be able to take off on election day and go and vote, no matter what your financial situation is, no matter what class you are or community or whatever else. Everybody should be allowed to take the day off to go and vote. But to not vote and then sit back and be one of the people that complain, and of course the computer gives everybody that option, is absolutely ridiculous. And that means in our local elections as well, we had a 13% turnout for my local town mayor's race, and also our city council members. 13%. You know, 50%, I would have been very proud of that. 13% is just appalling. I mean, for everybody out there that has served their community in some volunteer aspect, everybody out there who has worked their butt off, every military person who's ever been out there, and of course has gone overseas and served their country and done what they, put their life on the line. Whether you go overseas or not, you're putting your life on the line. I mean, you are putting yourself in front of everybody else and the citizens to protect, of course, the country. And with that in mind, and then to have people not go out and vote. Now, like I said, I think public shaming should be allowed. Nowadays, you get sued if you public shame people. But no, there used to be a time when you used to be able to publicly shame people because they were doing the stupid thing. I didn't vote because I was just busy this day. I didn't vote because, The candidates are just old. I didn't vote because, it doesn't matter what. I didn't vote because. I didn't vote because is the weakest argument you can ever have to say that you didn't vote. Just weak in general. I got people that I know out there with thousands of dollars worth of tattoos and stuff and this and that, and they spend all this money on this. They got the jacked up cars. They're running all around town. They're at the bar 3 nights a week. 20 minutes to go and vote? No. I didn't have time. Too much on my plate. No, it's too much. Oh, there was a good program on TV that night. I just didn't. I didn't have time. Yeah. Okay. Well, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, we got our great sponsors helping us out here with Guns in the 701, and we want to say thank you to all of them. Don't forget, we are going to go over a few more things tonight. Also, we've got our Badass of the Week coming up, and we've got to hit some of our great sponsors for tonight. It is the day before 4th of July, so with that in mind, we're going to hit some of those sponsors real quick right here on GunsInThe701.com.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Foundation.
Brother, hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck, Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber, rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy, Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
All right, we got our GunsInThe701.com. We are back, and we are really rolling right through it. Of course, we thank our great sponsors, Lauer Auto, and all our other great sponsors as well. Of course, helping us out, making sure the show gets done. We've got, of course, Bloodline Kinetics in there. They help us out. Huge, great guys right there doing some great things. Can't wait to show you some of the things they've done for Jamie and for Clay. For some of their new rifles. That's going to be really cool. Mandan Sporting Goods got their new location, and we've got, and of course, their new location on our crawler down at the bottom, so you can check that out. We've also got, of course, our good friends at Little Angry Man's Arms LLC. I was just checking it out. Of course, I don't have any Glocks. I was looking at his site because I want to pick up a couple of Glocks because I don't have any. It just seems like a thing that you should do. Is I don't have any, so I'd like to have some. kind of works out. So looking at him right now. Plus, don't forget to check him out for some of his silencers and more that he can work out with you. He's got a lot going on. Of course, you can check it out at littleangrymanarms.com and check out his site. And of course, he's right there in Trail City here in South Dakota. Also, of course, we've got our good friends over at Double H that help us out over on Jamie's 701 Nation. We'll be talking more about 701 Nation coming up. Well, California back into the news. Of course, like I said, every single day, somebody's trying to pick away at our rights. And they're doing it again. California got an appellate okay to share gun owners' data with the university researchers. And basically, every single time that someone in California makes a purchase, the law, AB 1587, part of a 12-bill package passed in 2023, which Firearm Policies Coalition, Vice President of Communications Richard Thomas, described the statement saying, tyrannical package shows the legislators' utter disdain for peaceable people and their willingness to use state violence to squash their rights. Basically, you go in, you make a purchase, it automatically gets reported to the feds. It automatically gets reported all this. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're buying ammo, if you're buying, scopes or whatever you're buying. The reality is they are just basically reporting on you nonstop. There was a story I sent Clay earlier in the week, and I've kind of lost it, but talking about some of the delivery drivers. And I got to remember, I think it was FedEx has got a test pilot going on in some areas where they have cameras listed up to all their trucks. And it's not for the safety of the drivers, because I don't think FedEx or Amazon or any of those people care about their drivers one bit. No, it's so that they can record things going on in the neighborhood, since they are, those delivery trucks are pretty prevalent in everybody's neighborhoods now. And so they want to keep a rolling database on what is happening, who's driving where, who's parked where, all the stuff that they want to use. And I'm like that's just a surveillance system in our own country, and it's absolutely ridiculous. But just like this, and you can check out this story as well at lawenforcementtoday.com. Of course, California, once again, denying the exercise of constitutional right by those who oppose lawful firearm ownership. The NSFF will continue to work with state legislators and Congress to put an end to blatantly discriminatory practices of using private enterprise to construct a backdoor firearm registry. And that's exactly what they're doing. So the bill regarding multifamily housing has been amended. That's where this is in. It's in a bill for multifamily housing. It's one of the things that I dislike about government most of all. They say that you can't get just one bill passed. Everything's got to have something attached to it and this and that. It's how everything flows and gets done, and you grease the wheels. And I'm like going, no, I don't want to grease the wheels. I don't want to grease the wheels. I want the wheels to be as simple as possible. One bill put up, one bill voted on, one bill passed or turned down. That's the way it should be. Shouldn't have a backdoor into checking out the ownerships of guns and whatnot, going through multifamily housing bills in California and other states. Now, a lot of other states have shot down this same thing, but California, of course, they will always jump at the chance to make sure that they can do stuff like this and basically impose upon their citizens. And people all just, they love it. Oh, they're just keeping track of things and making sure that we're all safe. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, that's what they're doing. Because, everybody, it's like, why don't you just go ahead and just have them, the feds listen to all your phone calls? I mean, I'm not saying they do, because they don't have enough people to do it. But what I'm saying is that, you see a police officer, walk up and let him look through your phone. What? You don't want to do that? There's a reason why. Because it's none of his damn business what's on your phone. It's none of his or anybody else's in government's damn business what's going on in my house. It's none of a damn business what I buy. But again, of course, it's just one more. These constant crap bills going through and being passed. And that's the thing in California. You just want to say, all right, I want to know the people who passed this law. And of course, those people, You need to actively put candidates up against them and get them out. And if they're these long time established candidates with these huge, purses and whatnot, and I'm like going, we got a social media world right now where you can go out there and just constantly say on social media, this person voted for this, they should be out of office. Get that thing moving, get people to jump on it, and get them out of there. I mean, it's just that simple. But I continue as I look at this to say it's just absolutely ridiculous that we allow this stuff to continue. It's so easy to do this job and this podcast when you have somebody else who can talk for a little bit so you can take a drink of your soda. I got to tell you, Clay, I don't know how you ramble on so much. So we continue on, of course, taking a look at that California bill. Let's take a look at it. And of course, there's a lot of posts on X as well about it. Of course, the AP observed that a merchant code intended to help track firearm purchases more easily could potentially backfire. You think? Lead to more purchases or purchasers to make their firearm transactions the old-fashioned way in cash. And that's what they want to do also. I mean, if they push you hard enough, you just won't go through dealers anymore. You'll do things on your own. And what happens then? Then you're a criminal as well, because they want you to be an FFL dealer and report every single thing that you do and every single thing that you sell from every single bullet you have. And of course, it's just one more way to make you the villain, to make you the enemy and make you a criminal. Once again, you want to definitely check out this story, of course, at lawenforcementtoday.com. It is a good one. As we roll along, of course, I'm trying to see, like I said, I don't know if we are on over at Rumble. I don't know if I have done this properly. I am trying my very best. So if we're missing people over on Rumble right now, I just got to tell you, I just want to, we've got some YouTube. I know our YouTube stuff is all messed up as well, but yeah, it's just hard to say. It's hard to say if I got everything running right now. Well, I'll tell you what, that might be my Rumble thing right there. We might have to go over to Jamie's Rumble here real quick and see if that goes streaming, and we'll see. Once again, of course, you've got the social medias. They are private companies, and here we are, capitalists. We say private companies are the way to go. I mean, the free market system should work itself out. When they start clamping down on free speech, and they start clamping down on all that because of whatever reason, we usually say the government has no right to go in there and say anything because you have free speech. But what do you do when you're in a situation where you are not dependent on the government, but you can't get this company to give you a fair shake, or they're singling you out, or they're throttling back your likes and whatnot on Facebook and on the other things, or they're messing with you all the time. And we get hit all the time with complaints about stupid stuff. There's a gun in the background of us. And of course, then somebody will call up and complain because their feelings are hurt. The old opening for our show where the prairie dog got sent to the happy hunting ground. Of course, that one really bugged a lot of people. And then they just had to call in every time to YouTube and Facebook and say, this just makes me so sad because the poor prairie dog didn't have a chance to grow up to its potential. And it's just an absolute joke. But, you don't get to see who these people are that are doing this. Are they watchers of your show because they like your content, or are they just there because they're part of anti-gun groups or anti-anything groups? Because there are anti-anything groups out there. And that's all they do. They sit there and they wait so they can say, hey, we're gonna cog up the works again for your show once more. Of course, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, Brian Warner, hello there, bud. Our MVEs, and of course, he's late to the party. Don't worry, I was late to the party too, because just me today. Clay's out doing his stuff out in the fields, still in the late hours. You got to, make the hay while the rain shine, or make the Yeah. Anyway. Hey, while the sun shines. There you go. Even if it's dark. You got what I was saying. But we continue on. We've been talking about a lot of the infringements about the government, different states and whatnot. Of course, the Supreme Court issues forward this way when and nonstop, and I get alerts from non-traditional websites. I know some people aren't all into Reddit and whatnot, but I mean, there are some good sources on there once in a while that come across your stream. A lot, especially of gun issues that I don't see coming across the regular streams for what do you call it? For networks and whatnot. So, I mean, you go through them, you go through others. I mean, Rumble, we get some information off Rumble. We get some information. I think it's sad that in the United States, I get a better and clearer look at American politics and American news through things like the BBC. I find that absolutely baffling. I mean, yeah, they're left leaning, but a better take and a better spin from a foreign nation's network than I get in my own. Unless, of course, we have networks that continually just run on this entertainment platform instead of news app platforms. And what do? I mean, we've got 5 minutes. Well, the right is doing this and the left is doing this and blah, 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 blah. And here's what LeBron James makes this year. And his son's now going to play with him in the basketball game. And you know what? Who cares? Who cares? I mean, somebody does out there. Somebody likes basketball. That's fine. I like soccer. I hate basketball. I kind of like football, but not as much as I used to, but it's just one of those things. But you got billions of dollars going out to people that, who cares? It doesn't affect my everyday, and it doesn't affect your everyday. It should be one of those things whereas, you know what? If you want that type of news, log on to ESPN. If you want that type of news, turn on that channel and go for that. But you know what? If you want news, I want to know news. I want to know what's going on in my country. I want to know what my Supreme Court is doing. I want to know what my local courts are doing, my state courts. I mean, I work for a radio group, and, that's the only way that I get information from our own state Supreme Court when they have cases going down, because I'm at a news station or a station that has news. And I'm glad I have news because it gives me the opportunity to know about stuff that's going on in the community. But most people don't know. Most people don't know what's going on in their own state. Well, there was a case for this or that going on in my own state, and I didn't even know it. Well, you know what? It's because you were so lost in your own life. You got to take time to. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm going to research on the web." I kind of question that a lot, but at the same time, hey, you've got to take the time to set up some news sources for yourself to stream to these phones that we've got. Use these phones for something decent. Set it up so alerts will show up once in a while, showing you what's going on in the world. I mean, it's that simple. But to claim that you don't know what's happening in the world, and we have, like we said, uninformed voters out there left and right. We all know them. They all have an opinion, but they don't have an opinion that matters because they don't vote, or they say they vote, or they're these big patriot people, but they don't vote, And it's just baffling. It's baffling in this country that this stuff is allowed to continue to go on. We should have 50% voting in every election. I know it's kind of a dream. It's a pipe dream, but it should be that way. It should constantly be that way. And we're 40 minutes into this already. And of course, I appreciate that we've got up to 7 here on this. And of course, we're looking at a few more over on Twitch. Rumble, I think Rumble might be running right now, but it might be running on Jamie's. I've got to check on that. I'll tell you what, without Clay, sometimes I am lost, right? We talk about wanting to make us criminals, gun owners out there. Of course, we saw this on the story from the USA Today, believe it or not. Americans bought 5.5 million guns to start 2024. That's just to start 2024. And we look at the states that they had those in as well. Of course, we're looking at the top states. I got a list here somewhere, but I'll find it here in just a second. Texas, yeah. Florida with 1,300,000 16. California actually sold over 1 million guns already this year. You think about that. How tough is to jump through hoops in a place like California and New York, and yet you've got people doing those hoops like crazy because they know that they want to take away your rights. And the best thing you can do to fight against that is to stay strapped. You know, when the criminals come, they're not going to care about your welfare, your family, or anything else. So stay strapped. Places like Missouri and Illinois, both of them did over 500,000 guns last year, or this past, I should say, the first 6 months of this year. And that, look at that, almost 1 million guns right there in 2 states, one of the most difficult states to buy guns right there. And of course, oh, I heard the beep. And that means that here with me. Oh, Clay.
I made it. I got rained out, so lucky for you, right?
Well, that's all right. I mean, I've been babbling around. I'll tell you what, I've
been listening from the tractor all the way until I got here. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, so is Fascist-book, what you say, Fascist-book is working?
Fascist-book is working. I got Twitter up and running. Rumble is up and running. It's got the wrong heading, but that's okay. It's got the old heading of Mitchell in the Morning from last Friday. Okay. Not a big deal. Just go to the live part, guys. If you're on Rumble, I see Eric's over there, so good to see Grizz is over there. Yeah, it's been quite an evening already. It's been a busy day. I got my field cut, but I was trying to get the other one kind of bailed up, and the rain came anyway, so I guess I'm not going to complain.
No, I know.
Welcome.
But like I said earlier, it's like basically, you know, if this was the winter, we could have had a lot more stuff done. But you know, in the summer, you gotta do what you got to do to get the work done. So yeah.
Yeah, and here's what I did, guys. If you're listening on X, Twitter, whatever it is, I shared it as it went there tonight for whatever reason. So it is on Guns in the 701. You can check it out there or check it out on my own. You can go on YouTube if you want to watch, but you got to go to the backup one. I don't know if that was in the chats or not. Was it? Did it come through?
I know that mine is up. I know mine went through, and I shared it. So,
okay,
I'm not quite sure. So we'll look on that. I think this has been an episode of me just complaining about the way things are in life. But
well, you know, Fascist-book decided they were going to nix us, but we must have won the appeal because I see it's live, so that's a good thing. And of course, it's at my personal one. It's at your personal one. Right. YouTube did not. YouTube said that we were harassing and cyberbullying, whatever the hell that is. No. So, all right, I'm going to paste this right here. This is the backup. If anybody wants to go to YouTube, you can watch us on there. It's the Guns in 701 backup one. It used to be my personal one, but then you can comment and interact. We do have about 4 or 5 running pretty consistently on Rumble. I didn't check the website. Twitch has some on there. So, hey, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
It's a little lower viewership. I kind of expected that, but you can always catch the replay. I think what I will try to do, I don't know, for 2 weeks we're nixed on YouTube. I don't even know if I can upload a video the way it sounds.
No, it said we can't, but you know, we'll see on that one. But.
Piss on them sons of bitches. But,
well, I hit a bunch of stuff already this morning. I hit the California or this afternoon.
You were talking about Chevron.
Chevron, yeah. Yes. Now I realize that's going to limit some of these agencies out there that we've given power to.
Yeah, Chevron, that was a horrible decision when it first came out to begin with. It essentially said anything that wasn't regulated, anything that wasn't already stated, defers back. And it had to actually do with, I believe it was an offshore drilling situation. I don't even remember. But what it did was it said that the agents, the regulatory agency, which is unelected one, you know, they don't care.
Right.
They are the default for the decision. No, that is not how that works. And the Supreme Court finally overturned it and got it right.
Put it back to laws. I mean, put it back to the Congress that makes the laws.
Right.
So, yeah.
Which in turn, when you look at you had the bump stock regulation, which was unconstitutional. You had a lot of these things happening that were being unconstitutional coming from the ATF. Right. And they were basically saying that had, because Chevron was upheld. You know, that was just upheld here, last year? In the last session of the court, and now it's been finally overturned. So anyway, I'm glad to see that it is been overturned. Those agencies are now going to probably lose a lot of the power that they took illegally, unconstitutionally. And I can't think of a better way to celebrate Independence Day coming up tomorrow is by looking at all the victories we've had in the Supreme Court that restored constitutional law. I mean, we've had some huge victories here over the last 2 months.
Now, one thing that I do worry about is that, of course, you look at organizations like the ATF and whatnot are not going to want to give up power.
Oh no, they're not going to give it up easily, but they're going to be forced to now. So Ron, one shot asks, he goes, you guys think that the government will give the illegal, and I'll correct you here, aliens, I don't call them immigrants, they come here, immigrants come here legally, but illegal aliens guns someday? I think
no, we talked about already. We talked about LA police force actually having its own division of illegal aliens that they're using to police other illegal aliens, that they've actually given them guns and more. Oh, yeah. So that is a done deal. And of course, California likes to set the precedent of what other states would like to do. And you know, that's one more thing. So yeah, I totally agree. We talked about that months ago. And yeah,
absolutely. Hey, Leon, good to see you tonight. He says, never give bureaucrats an inch. They'll take a yard and a half. And he's absolutely right. Bureaucratic agencies are not elected by anybody. Okay. Yep. So they don't really answer to us. They only answer to whoever keep them in a job.
Right.
That's why they should have the least amount of power. And we've let that's our own fault. We've let it happen. We truly have. We've let that happen. So, you know, the illegals, they already got guns. Like you said, LA cops, Chicago is already talking about. In fact, there's some Democrats in Congress that want to, you'll love this. They want to take our guns away, right? Right. They want to enroll these illegal aliens, these people who don't belong here, that broke the law, committed felonies getting here, and then want rights, which they're not entitled to. One thing I want everybody to remember, illegal aliens, tomorrow is not your day. This is for Americans, for citizens. If you're here illegally, you have zero rights, no rights whatsoever in this country. You don't even have a right to a fair trial. You don't have.
You know what we'll hear tomorrow.
Speech. You have right to nothing.
We'll see CNN running footage down on the border where somebody will be running around with their Mexican flag saying, "You're on stolen land," and I'm like, "Well, you should have fought harder, pussy." So
to the spoils go. To the victors go the spoils. That's how it's always supposed to have been. Except, I remember I had a history teacher. He says, he says the best thing can happen is have the United States attack you and win. And we're all like, as kids going, "What are you talking about?" He goes, because then they come in, they rebuild you, they give you. I mean, that's what we did in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of true. If the United States attacks you, it's probably a good thing in the end. You might as well just surrender and then take all the stuff they'll give you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So with that, I'll tell you what, I think what we need to do is we need to take a quick break, Mike. If you want to do that, let's play our full ad.
I got a triple coming up, and I've got this little extra bonus for you here real quick. So I'll hit that, and then we'll be back in just a moment on gunsandthe701.com.
America, if we the people don't stand up and do something soon, all we are going to be able to do is put our tail between our legs and kiss our asses goodbye. No freedom, no money, no borders, no life. It's time for change. The movement has begun to stand and unite. Those who are with me, give me a hell yeah.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Bandit.
Brother, hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck, Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy, Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
Ever tried catching a fish with your bare hands or hunting a deer with a stick? Don't be that guy. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we've got all the hunting and camping gear you need. We're your one-stop shop for outdoor adventure.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Check us out at mandansportinggoods.com, or better yet, stop in to 210 East Main Street, Mandan, North Dakota. Mandan Sporting Goods, where the outdoors meets functionality. Store hours, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Closed Sunday. Take up arms at Mandan Sporting Goods. Your adventure starts here.
I think we're back, aren't we?
We are back.
Oh, what happened here? That should have left.
Oh, you just hit that top right there. There we go.
All right, there it's there.
I'm
So
learning.
I do got to. I have not had any time. Haying has kind of taken over my life right now, which I got to do that when it's happening. But Mandan Sporting Goods has moved. They have a brand new address, 206 4th Avenue Northwest, Mandan, North Dakota. All you got to do is you find running, hang a left, go 2 blocks essentially, and you're there. It's the old. It was a printing office supply, I think. Building. I don't remember the name of it. Innovative or something, I think.
Right.
Anyway, they have a great new store there, and you're gonna want to stop in there at 206 4th Avenue Northwest. And of course, we cannot forget Little Man Angry Arms, or Little Angry Man Arms. I'm sorry. They came on board, and we are happy to have John and Little Angry Man Arms LLC on board with us. Just check them out right there at their website, littleangrymanarms.com, and he's got everything you need too, including suppressors. And I know we had a question here come up in our chat over the week, and that had to do with suppressors. Yes. So if you are a South Dakota resident, it's easier to buy one from a South Dakota dealer, no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have them shipped to any of the North Dakota ones if you're a North Dakota purchaser from a South Dakota place. And we got plenty of sponsors that'll take care of that, as well as friends. 1760 Sports, Mandan Sporting Goods. I do believe Bloodline Kinetics can take care of that as well. So we got you covered. You just find one of our great sponsors. And if you go in there, and I really highly suggest you go in, and I don't know if any of them are open tomorrow, but if you can still get in there, get yourself some freedom seeds to send down range for this 4th of July Independence weekend. So, all right. Tell me you see it and heard it on Guns in the 701.
I got a good story for you. Now, this is not necessarily a Second Amendment thing, but it is North Dakota. The Supreme Court opened the door Monday to new broad challenges to regulations long after they take effect. Third blow in a week to federal agencies. Now, this one is talking, the justices ruled 6-3 in favor of a truck stop in North Dakota that wants to sue over regulations on debit card swipe fees that the federal appeals court in Washington upheld 10 years ago.
Wow.
So I don't know if you saw this one yet. I know you've been busy out on the tractor, so you probably hadn't a chance. Federal law
sent it to me.
Yeah, federal law sets a 6-year deadline for broad challenges to regulation. In this case, the regulation from the Federal Reserve governing the fees merchants must pay banks whenever customers use a debit card took effect in 2011. The deadline for the lawsuit over the regulation was 2017. That's a nice way to do it too, is keep putting these time limits on things, and then nobody can ever,
Watford City. I remember going by that one too.
Yeah,
in that area.
There you go. So Western North Dakota, Watford City, of course, mounted its challenge too late, even though it didn't open its doors until 2018. But of course, the company appealed to the Supreme Court. The administration has urged the courts to uphold the dismissal because otherwise government agencies would be subject to endless challenges, they say.
Good.
And that's one of my things. You're right. Good. I'm like, your job is to regulate or do the laws. And I'm so sorry that if that bogs down your life a little bit. Here's an idea. Stop taking frivolous lawsuits and these political lawsuits and all this bull lawsuits out there. And maybe we wouldn't have, people burning their crotches at McDonald's or some of the things going on with former presidents.
And the nice thing about this is this will actually go. It's going to go probably the right way because guess what? The 1984 Chevron decision has been overturned, and it takes away that power from a bureaucratic agency, an alphabet agency, as I like to call them. Name them, whichever one you want to get. They all have taken too much power because of Chevron, and now that's going to be backtracked.
Justice Amy Coney Barrett, she wrote a really good one, a conservative majority, that the 6-year clock didn't begin to run for the corner post unit until it started accepting debit cards. And that didn't happen until 2018. Now, they're going back to 2011. They didn't even open until 2018. So, they're using some common sense. So
that K. John Brown Jackson, whatever the hell her name is, she's a commie. Plain and simple.
Tommy Brown Jackson.
Yeah, commie. She should just call herself Commie Brown Jackson because that's what she is. She's a communist. I've seen a lot of her decisions. She has zero understanding of what the Supreme Court's supposed to be about or what the Constitution is. She truly believes that she is there to interpret the Constitution into the ideology, format, and mold that she holds.
Right.
Not to base law on the Constitution is written. The Constitution, I am so sick of hearing the Constitution's a living document. It is not. No. It never has been, and it never should be. It's hard to change. Think about this. The first 10 amendments, which is the Bill of Rights. I heard Daryl today say, and I love what he called it. He goes, it's the first 10, how do you put it, restrictions that the government has upon itself that it can't do to you or something like that, which is actually true. Constitution tells Congress what they can't do to you, which is great.
And many times you said it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs.
That's right. It's the Bill of Rights. And it's only been amended 17 times since that. The first 10 were there, right?
Right.
After that, it's only been done 17 more times. So it's not easy to change, nor should it be.
Well, we're 247 years, 248 years old tomorrow.
248, I believe.
248. Like so there you go.
But, hey, Dan, good to see you in. He says he's coming on a little late, too. Hey, I was here late, too, Dan, but he says he was at the Trap Club exercising his 2A right
Excellent.
on.
Excellent.
He was sending Freedom BBs into the air, not
Freedom BBs.
Freedom BBs.
Well, those are smaller seeds.
Freedom Pebbles. There you go.
Freedom Pebbles. There you go.
One shot said, yeah, she's only a justice because of DEI. You're absolutely right. That was the DEI selection. And our Republicans, this is where me and Kevin Kramer, I know Kevin fairly well up here in North Dakota. He's our senator, and I like Kevin. We're friends. And I told him he was wrong because he was. It's the right of the president, to select who he wants. True, it is. But I said the Senate, in the checks and balances of our country, is supposed to actually fight something like that and reject a nominee like Jackson Brown. You don't put a person like that on there. You can look at all her decisions. They are not constitutional. So it is the job of the Senate to say, no, I'm voting no on this particular justice. And him and I had quite a discussion about that. I don't know. I don't think I changed his mind, but that's okay. Not elect him someday, possibly. Yeah. But I mean, it's every senator's job to weigh when a Supreme Court justice comes on for nomination to look at their past record, look at their past cases, and see how they have ruled. Because it is very important, as obvious as what we have seen. Even though I didn't agree with all of Trump's nominees that went in there, but for the most part, they have turned that court. At least they've swung it back to the constitutional side of the pendulum.
Oh, and boy, that annoys the left so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Leon, yeah. I got to put this up. Leon says Kevin's mindset is why we are where we are in the country. And and I like Kevin, as like I said, he's a friend, and I liked him as a rep. It's almost like when I helped out Thune. I helped a lot on both of those campaigns because he was a different man.
Oh,
coming
totally
out of the
different.
House of Representatives. He went there. He served his 2 terms like he said he would do, and then he came home because he truly believed in term limits, and he fought for them back then. He got out for a while. Basically, the South Dakota Republican Party begged him to run against Tim Johnson. Well, Johnson had a stroke, and he did get the sympathy vote. Let's face it, that's how he won. How do you fight that? All right, we come back 2 years later and take on Daschle. Not only did we defeat him, we landslid him. Okay, and he was the sitting majority leader in the Senate at the time. So we unseated the majority leader, and not just a little by a little bit. We literally had a landslide victory. That's how popular John was, because he had the right ideology then. But I don't know the guy anymore as far as his ideology, the way he votes. I don't know what happened to him, but
well, he moved up into the second. Yeah, he moved up the second, and basically he's. I
think he sold his soul so they could move up and have power, I guess, which is something he always spoke out against. So I know the last time I had dinner with him in Lemon, called up and we went and had lunch, and I just said I can't support you this time, and so he wasn't really a great friend because I haven't heard from him since.
Yeah, well.
But I was honest with him. I said I can't support you, John. Your voting record is no better than the Democrats. Really, it's a little bit, but not much.
A little bit, but not much.
He even let me pay for dinner that day.
I know when you were on the tractor, of course, last week we were talking about defining the terms in the Second Amendment. So I went over that early today before you got in, and went over all this stuff, and of course, a good breakdown of what each part means in the 27 words. So yeah, we went over that because I was looking at that after we talked last week. I wanted to bring that back up, and we did, and because it's very important.
If it wouldn't have been for our militia, our Continental Army would not have won. And I mean, I guess I know, I've read a lot about the Revolutionary War. Everyone references The Patriot. Great movie. Okay, great movie. They did get one thing right in there. Cornwallis actually had zero respect for the militia. He really didn't. He just thought that they were a bunch of farmers with pitchforks and can't defeat the mighty British Army. Are you crazy? Yeah. So they used that to their advantage, especially when they were taking the field in a lot of different battles. I mean, we actually were losing that war at first, and then it all turned around. And as we know, fast forward and boom, here we are. And now I think we're on the verge of probably another one.
We have an entire generation of politicians that believe that we should be carrying around muskets, and that this right here is a military item that should never be in the hands of civilians. Right here, by the way, I love that right there. I want that really bad. But.
Well, I actually have PMags with that window in them. Yeah. I'm going to see if our buddy at Bloodline Kinetics can take his laser and make me some of them and put that on my ones with the window. I love that. I think that's a great idea.
That's a good one. But see, that thing right there, they say makes us terroristic. That makes us violent. That makes us bad because we have technology.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely ridiculous.
When I always would get, when I worked with the NRA, I'd always, the Second Amendment. How can you say the Second Amendment it applies to this particular gun? Pick your gun, AR-15, whatever. They always like to pick on the black guns. And just because I guess they look evil and they're I don't know. They loved going after AR-15.
Well, they spent so much time having Hollywood make everything look so bad.
Yeah.
And everybody that was evil had the bad guns. And,
Well, I always used to ask them, okay, so you don't believe that the Second Amendment applies to the new technology? Well, they could have never foreseen that. Oh, I don't know. I think our forefathers, our founding members, I think they looked ahead as far as they could, and they interpreted a lot of things because we still have it intact as of now. But I always ask some people. So when they did that, you got to remember, when they did that, things like quill and ink were still being used to write things. So do they not believe that the word processor now applies? for printing.
On that and everything else, I totally agree with you. But you got to think about the 1740s, 50s, 60s, 70s was a revolutionary time of progress in our world. Yeah, they understood that things change. Of anybody that knew that things change, you have to say our founding fathers, because they changed the thinking of the entire world that, well, the British are the most powerful of everything, and we can't say anything against them. Well, we proved that wrong.
We sure did.
And so you've got to say they had forward thinking in everything they did.
Oh, they absolutely did. I mean, and people don't understand. If you go, there's a lot of things that were recorded, okay, about the meetings and the committee meeting and the things that took place in the Continental Congress. This was not an easy thing. There were literally fights that took place over how they were going to form our United States of America and our first Constitution. Jefferson wrote it, but there was lots of things, and he modeled after the Virginia Constitution.
Right.
Sorry, I'm going down a history trail now, but I love this stuff. I live this stuff. I mean, I have a Constitution sitting on my desk at all times in my pocket. I mean, you saw it when I worked for the NRA. I always had one on me. So how far we have fallen from what our founders had intended. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, and I guarantee if founders were brought back today, I mean, some of them would kick us in the ass. I mean, they would. I mean, it just goes.
Well, I think that, we've allowed, I got a real problem with government indoctrination camps, otherwise known as public schools. And we've allowed this to happen. In the 60s, the president of the NOW organization essentially said, we are going to take your children. We're going to take your grandchildren. We can't win you over. We can't change the people now, but we can change the grandchildren one step at a time. And they did. They infiltrated everything in the school system. And then feds come in and started, stuffing money in there and started dictating the schools. We got a property tax issue that's coming up in North Dakota. It's going to. I'm sure we've got enough signatures because they turned in way more than they needed. So it should appear on the ballot. Vote to remove property tax. We should own our land. We shouldn't have to rent it.
Yep.
And the sky is not going to fall. You're not going to lose local control. You have no local control now.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I guess maybe some people, some of the people listening, maybe you're just ignorant. Go to a school board meeting, pull out their budget. It's published for public viewing,
right,
and see where their money comes from. A lot of federal money, a lot of state money. The little bit that's coming in from property taxes, although they always raise them in the name of the school, but so little of it gets to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, their curriculum and everything in the school is dictated by the feds and the Department of Education because they are the biggest contributor probably to the money going to these schools. And we need to stop that. And I will tell you right now, Rick Becker's plan for property tax replacement is great. It's going to work fine. That's what we have a legacy fund for. I like user taxes. I don't like any taxes, but if we have to have one, I like a user tax. Let everybody pay.
Yep.
And if they did that, problem solved, and we could own our property. But what happens if you get rid of property taxes, Mike? That's right. They lose control.
Right.
I've always said if they want to raise property taxes for a school issue, fine. No one gets to vote unless they own property because they're the ones paying that. Oh, man, you want to ruffle some feathers? Oh, I have a right to vote. No, you don't, because this is for it to fund, strictly for funding for a school.
No skin in the game.
That's right. So you don't have a right. And I said, and then people that rent, well, it don't affect me. I said, do you think that won't affect you? I said, guy like me owns property. Say I'm renting to you. And I can tell you it's going to happen right now. The one I rent out in town, right? The rent on that is going up by $100 a month for those that have to rent it. You know why? Because the property taxes went up that much on that piece of property because Lemon built a school addition.
Right.
And if they can say that ain't why, but that is exactly why when you go look at percentages and the time frame, it happened when they built that damn school. And you got to see the luxury bus they just bought and called it an activities bus. Oh,
at least it's not electric.
No, it's a big diesel. Probably gets 7 miles a gallon, if that. it's better than most of these country stars that travel around in. I'm not kidding. This thing is fancy and it's ridiculous. It's just, I get so sick of it. I'm glad that I don't own a lot of property at all in South Dakota right now, because in that school district, because I feel sorry for them people. But tell you what, it's about 1:15 almost. Why don't we do another break and then
do another break and we'll come back. Do a badass.
I think so.
By the way, did you notice this?
I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to get those on your microphone as well. There we go. So, all right, we've got a badass coming up, and I've got this for you right now. Let me see if I can fire this off. I got to make sure I get the right one. Oh, because I got you. Here we go.
All right.
There's nothing special about being American. None of you can define for me what an American is.
I am the nation. I was born on July 4th, 1776, and the Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate. The bloodlines of the world run in my veins because I offered freedom to the oppressed. I am many things and many people. I am the nation. I am 200 million living souls and the ghost of millions who have lived and died for me. I am Nathan Hale and Paul Revere. I stood at Lexington and fired the shot heard round the world. I'm Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry. I'm John Paul Jones, the Green Mountain Boys, Davy Crockett. I'm Lee.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Bandit.
Brother. Hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck, Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber, rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy, Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
All right, we are back, everybody. Hey, we got a lot of stuff we were going to cover. We might put a little of that out there because we're definitely going to get to the badass. But there's some comments over here on the Rumble channel. So, God save our republic. He said DC changes people. That was in reference to John Thune, and it does. And he says, one correction, Clay, and I agree. If it wasn't for God, we would have lost the Revolutionary War. And you're absolutely right. If it wasn't for God, our rights are from God. Our Creator endowed us with unalienable rights. And I mean, it's spelled out definitively in the Declaration. So all of our stuff is derived from God. And I do believe that. And I know that I sin. I know I fail every day. And I do ask for repentance every day and forgiveness by repenting. If I didn't, oh my goodness, I don't know. I guess I look at all the people that don't believe. And I always ask them, why does my belief in my religion bother you so much? Because if I'm wrong, then I guess I'm wrong. I know I'm not. But if they're wrong, they got bigger problems.
That's going to be one hell of a wake-up call, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be awful warm. So, yeah. And then he goes, they also had machine guns before the Constitution was created. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that could rapidly fire like that. If you ever make it out to the National Firearms Museum out at the NRA, they got some of the earliest machine guns out there. They're pretty cool, and they've been around a long time. I love the first one that they showed us, which was actually liquid cooled. They ran water through it, just like the old German guns, but like 100 and some years before that. So it was pretty cool to see that stuff when we were out there. But, well, I'll tell you what, we're about I got about a 20-minute badass, right?
We got about 1944.
All right. Well, then I'll tell you what, I'll let you take it away. Let's do the badass of the week. We might go a little bit longer tonight, and then we're going to wrap it up and wish everybody happy Independence Day and call it a day.
All right. Badass of the week coming up right now. Hey everybody, it's Mike from GunsInThe701.com, and we are back again with another Badass of the Week. We pick a name out of history, go into detail on the badass things they did so that their memory will always be recorded. Ahead of time on this one is a lot of Slavic pronunciations, and I am not very good at the Slavic pronunciations, so I will try my very best. Witold Pilecki was born on the 13th of May, 1901 in the town of Oleniec, Karelia in the Russian Empire. He was a descendant of the Polish-speaking noble family, the Slachka of the Lelowa coat of arms. His ancestors had been deported to Russia from their home in Lithuania for participating in the January 63 to 64 uprising, for which a major part of their estate was confiscated. Witold was one of 5 children of Forest Inspector Julian Pilecki and Ludwika Anzaminska. In 1910, Witold moved with his mother and siblings to Vilnius to attend Polish school while his father remained in Oleniec. Now, following the outbreak of World War I in 1916, Pilecki was sent by his mother to a school in the Russian city of Witold, located safer in the east than Vilnius. There he attended what was called a gymnasium, or a secondary school, and founded a local chapter of the ZHP. Now, that's a model of the British and American Boy Scouts. In 1918, following the outbreak of the Russian Revolution and the defeat of Central Powers in World War I, Pilecki returned to Vilnius, then outside the control of the Polish government, and joined the ZHP section of the Self-Defense of Lithuania and Belarus, a paramilitary formation under Major General Władysław Wyjęto. The military disarmed the passing German troops and took up positions to defend the city from looming attacks by the Soviet Red Army. After Vilnius fell to the Bolsheviks' forces on January 5th of 1919, Pilecki and his unit resorted to partisan warfare behind Soviet lines. He and his comrades then retreated to Białystok, where Pilecki enlisted as a private in Poland's newly established army. Now, he fought the Polish-Soviet War in 1919 to 1920, serving under Captain Jerzy Dobrynski. And being involved in the Vilna offensive, he fought in the Kiev offensive in 1920 as part of the cavalry unit defending the then Polish city of Grodno. On the 5th of August 1920, Pilecki joined the Polish 211th Ulan Regiment and fought in a crucial battle of Warsaw, and then in the Rudalinkai Forest. Pilecki later was involved in the Polish-Lithuanian War as a member of the October 1920 Zygolinski Mutiny, where Polish troops occupied Vilnius in a false flag operation. By the conclusion of the Polish-Soviet War in March of 1921, Pilecki was promoted to the rank of corporal, becoming a non-commissioned officer. In 1931, he married Maria Ostrowska. They had 2 children, born in Vilnius, over the next 2 years. Andrzejczyk and Zofia. Pilecki actively supported the local farming community. He was also an amateur poet and painter.
He organized the Crocus Military Horseman Training Program in 1932 and was appointed to command the 1st Lida Military Training Squadron, which in 1937 was placed under the Polish 19th Infantry Division, and in 1938, Pilecki received the Silver Cross of Merit for his activities. Then we hit World War II. With Polish-German tensions growing in mid-1939, Pilecki was mobilized as a cavalry platoon commander on the 26th of August 1939. He was assigned to the 19th Infantry Division under Major General Józef Krasnynski, part of the Army's Prussia, and his unit took part in heavy fighting against the advancing Germans during the invasion of Poland. The 19th Division was almost completely destroyed following a clash with the German forces of the nights of 5 and 6 of September at the Battle of Piotrków-Trybunalski. Its remains were incorporated into the 41st Infantry Division, which was withdrawn to the southeast toward the Val or Lviv, Ukraine. In the 41st Division, Pilecki served as divisional second-in-command of its cavalry detachment under Major Jan Wojdarkowicz. He and his men destroyed 7 German tanks, shot down 1 aircraft, and destroyed 2 more on the ground. Now, on the 17th of September, the Soviet Union invaded eastern Poland, which worsened the already desperate situation of the Polish forces. On the 22nd of September, the 41st Division suffered a major defeat and capitulated. Wojdarkowicz and Pilecki were among many soldiers who did not follow the orders of Commander-in-Chief General Edward Smigielewicz to retreat through Romania to France, instead opting to stay underground in Poland. On the 9th of November 1939 in Warsaw, Major Wojdarkowicz, 2nd Lieutenant Pilecki, 2nd Lieutenant Jerzy Marinj, Jerzy Skolansky, and brothers Jan and Stanislav Dangle, they founded the secret Polish army known as Tanja Armina Polanska, or TAP, one of the first underground organizations in Poland. Wojdarkowicz became its leader, while Polanski became TAP's organizational head as it expanded to cover Warsaw, Siedlce, Radom, and Lublin, along with other major cities in central Poland. As cover, Pilecki worked as a manager of a cosmetic storehouse. From the 25th of November 1939 until May of 1940, he was TAP's inspector and chief of staff. TAP was based on a Christian ideological value, while Pilecki wanted to avert a religious mission so as not to alienate potential allies. Wojdarkowicz blamed Poland's defeat on its failure to create a Catholic nation and wanted to remake the country by appealing to right-wing groups. In the spring of 1940, Pilecki saw that Wojdarkowicz's views had become more anti-Semitic and that he had put ultra-nationalist dogma into their newsletters. Wojdarkowicz had also entered into talks about a merger with a far-right underground group, including a group that had offered Nazi Germany a Polish puppet government. To stop him, Pilecki went to Colonel Stefan Rowiński, chief of the rival resistance group, the Union of Armed Struggle, and they were abbreviated as ZWZ, which called for equal rights for Jews and others, gathered intelligence on German atrocities, and delivered it by courier to the Western Allies in an attempt to gain their involvement. The ZWZ had alerted the Polish government in exile that the Germans were inciting Polish hatred against the Jews and others, and that this might lead to the rise of a Polish Quinzling, or ethnic cleansing. Pilecki called for TAP to submit to Rowiński's authority, but Wojdarkowicz refused and issued a manifesto that the future Poland had to be Christian based on national identity, and those who opposed the idea should be, quote, removed from our lands, unquote. Pilecki refused to swear a proposed oath. In August, Wojdarkowicz announced at a TAP meeting that they would, after all, join the mainstream underground with Rowiński, and that it had been proposed that Pilecki should infiltrate the Auschwitz concentration camp. Little was known about how the Germans ran the new camp, which was thought to be an internment camp or large prison, rather than the death camp it's known for. Purporting to explain how Pilecki actually found himself in Auschwitz, he put himself in the apartment of Ilornia Orlowska during a building search. Afterwards, along with 1,705 other prisoners, between the 21st and 22nd of September, Pilecki reached the Auschwitz concentration camp under the name of Serafinsky, a name of someone he thought was dead, and he assumed his identity. He was assigned prisoner number 4859. While in various slave labor and surviving pneumonia at Auschwitz, Pilecki organized an underground military organizational union, the Zywak Organizacji Wojskow, otherwise known as ZOW. Its tasks were to improve the morale of the inmates, provide news from outside the camps, distribute extra food and clothing to its members, set up intelligence networks, and train detachments to take over the camp in the event of a relief attack. Now, ZOW was organized as secret cells, each a 5-member group. Over time, many smaller underground organizations at Auschwitz eventually merged with ZOW. As part of his duties, Pilecki secretly drew up reports and sent them to the Home Army headquarters with the help of inmates that had been released or escaped. Now, the first dispatches, delivered in October 1940, described the camp and the ongoing extermination of inmates via starvation and brutal punishments. It was used as the basis of a Home Army report on the terror and lawlessness of the occupiers. Further dispatches of Pilecki's were likewise smuggled out by individuals who managed to escape from Auschwitz. The report's purpose may have been to get the Home Army Command's permission for ZOW to stage an uprising to liberate the camp. However, no such response came from the Home Army. In 1942, Pilecki's resistance movement was also using a homemade radio transmitter to broadcast details on the number of arrivals and deaths in the camp and the conditions of the inmates. The secret radio station was built over 7 months using smuggled parts. It broadcast from the camp until the autumn of 1942, when it was dismantled by Pilecki's men after concerns that the Germans might discover its location because of, quote, one of our fellow big mouths, unquote. The information provided by Pilecki was principal source of intelligence on Auschwitz for the Western Allies. Pilecki hoped that either the Allies would drop arms or troops into the camp, or that the Home Army would organize an assault on it from the outside. The camp's Gestapo under SS Untersturmführer Maximilian Grabner redoubled its efforts to ferret out ZOW members, killing many of them. To avoid the worst outcome, Pilecki decided to break out of the camp with the hopes of convincing Home Army leaders that a rescue attempt was a valid option. On the night of the 27th of April, 1943, Pilecki was assigned to a night shift at a camp bakery outside the fence, and he and 2 comrades managed to force open a metal door, overpower a guard, cut the telephone line, and escape outside the camp perimeter. They left the SS guard in the woodshed, barricaded from the outside. Before escaping, they cut the alarm wire. They headed east, and after several hours crossed into the general government, taking with them documents stolen from the Germans. The men fled on foot to the village of Alavelnia, where they were helped by a priest, and then on to Tynis, where locals assisted them. Later, they reached the Polish resistance safe house near Bochnia. At one point during the journey, German soldiers attempted to stop Pilecki, firing at him as he fled. Several bullets passed through his clothing, while one wounded him without hitting either bone or vital organ. After several days as fugitives, Pilecki made contact with units of the Home Army. In June 1943, in Novi Winsk, Pilecki drafted a report on the situation in Auschwitz. It was buried at the farm where he was staying and was only revealed after his death. In August 1943, back in Warsaw, Pilecki started preparing Witold's Report, or Report W, which focused on the Auschwitz underground. It covered 3 main topics: ZOW and its members, Pilecki's experiences, and the extermination of prisoners, including Jews. Pilecki's intent in writing it was to persuade the Home Army to liberate the camp's prisoners. However, once again, the Home Army command judged such an attack would be a failure. The Soviet Red Army, despite being within attacking distance of the camp, showed no interest in a joint effort with the Home Army and ZOW to free it. Shortly after rejoining the resistance, Pilecki became a member of the Kedwa Sabotage Unit, using the pseudonym Roman Gerinsky. He also joined a secret anti-communist organization, the Nye. On the 19th of February 1944, he was promoted to cavalry captain. Pilecki continued coordinating ZOW and Home Army activities and providing ZOW with what limited support he could. In Auschwitz, Pilecki had met an author, Igor Nuverly, whose Jewish wife, Barbara, was hiding in Warsaw. The Nuverlys had been working with Janusz Korczak to try to save Jewish lives. Pilecki gave Barbara money from the Polish resistance, which she passed on to several Jewish families whom she and her husband protected. He also gave her money to pay off her own blackmailer, who said he was Jewish and threatened to report her to the Gestapo unless she paid up. Well, that blackmailer disappeared, with the suspicion that it is likely that Witold arranged for his execution. And good riddance to that son of a bitch. Now, when the Warsaw Uprising broke out on August 1st, 1944, Pilecki volunteered for service with the Warszawska Company of the Chorleby No. 2 Battalion. Initially, he served as a common soldier in the northern city center without revealing his rank to his superiors. After many officers were killed in the early days of the uprising, Pilecki revealed his true identity and accepted command of the 1st Company deployed in Warsaw. After the fall of the uprising, which ended on the 2nd of October that year, he was captured and taken prisoner by the Germans. He was sent to Ofslag 7A, a prison of war camp for Polish officers, located north of Murnau, Bavaria, where he remained until the prisoners were liberated on the 29th of April, 1945. In July 1945, Pilecki joined the Military Intelligence Division of the Polish II Corps under Lieutenant General Władysław Anders in Ancona, Italy. In October 1945, as relations between the government in exile and the Soviet-backed regime of Borislav Beirut kept deteriorating, Pilecki was ordered by Anders and his intelligence chief, Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Kijak, to return to Poland and report on the prevailing military and political situations under Soviet occupation. By December 1945, he had arrived in Warsaw and begun organizing an intelligence gathering network. As the NI organization had been disbanded, Pilecki recruited former ZOW and TAP members and continued sending information to the government in exile. However, in July 1946, he was informed that his identity had been uncovered by the Ministry of Public Security. Anders ordered him to leave Poland, but Pilecki was reluctant to comply because he had a wife and children in the country, and his wife was unwilling to immigrate with the children, as well due to a lack of suitable replacements. He was arrested on the 8th of May, 1947 by the Communist Authority. Pilecki was tortured, but in order to protect other operatives, he did not reveal any sensitive information. His case was supervised by Colonel Roman Romanowski. The show trial took place on the 3rd of March 1948. Pilecki was charged with illegal border crossing, use of forged documents, not enlisting with the military, carrying illegal arms, espionage for Anders, also espionage for foreign imperialism, the government in exile, and planning to assassinate several officers of the Ministry of Public Security of Poland. Pilecki denied the assassination charges as well as the espionage, although he admitted to passing information to the No. 2 Corps, of which he was considered himself an officer, and thus claimed he was not breaking any laws. He was sentenced to death on May 15th with 3 of his comrades. Pleas for pardons from a number of Auschwitz survivors were ignored. Pilecki was executed by Pietrov Smintansky with a shot to the back of the head at the Makatow prison in Warsaw. Pilecki's burial place has never been found, though it is thought to be in the Warsaw Palawansky Cemetery. A monument to Pilecki is in Warsaw. In 2012, Pilecki's Auschwitz diaries were translated into English by Garolinsky and published under the title The Auschwitz Volunteer Beyond Bravery. Also, Poland's chief rabbi, Michael Shrudich, he wrote the foreword to the 2012 English translation of Pilecki's report, and quote, "When God created the human being, God had in mind that we should all be like Captain Witold Pilecki of blessed memory," unquote. Also, historian Norman Davies wrote in the introduction of the same translation, quote, "If there was an Allied hero who deserved to be remembered and celebrated, this was a person of few peers," unquote. Here's a man that went well above and beyond for his country. Witold Pilecki. Don't let his name escape history. Witold Pilecki was a true 100%. Goddamn, that man was a badass. Some of the sources for this badass of the week from Wikipedia, also the Polish Institute of National Remembrance, Witold Pilecki confronting the legend of the volunteer to Auschwitz and the Auschwitz volunteer beyond bravery, among others. Well, that concludes this badass of the week here on GunsInThe701.com. Hey, here's the deal. If you've got a badass in history that you want us to talk about, do a little research on, we'd love to do that. But you got to let us know. And you can do that by emailing us at guns@gunsinthe701.com. That's GUNS@gunsinthe701.com. Drop us a line, let us know, and we'll get back to you. And of course, hopefully get that story out here on the Badass of the Week. Also, you see the QR code up there? Bing! Yep, it's right up there in the corner. You can go to that and donate a little money. If you got a little or a lot, whatever you feel you can spare, we always got to keep up our studios. We've got programs we've got to keep up to date. And Lord knows, it's just not cheap nowadays to do anything in this world. So, hey, we could use any help that you could give us. Also, don't forget you can go to gunsinthe701.com. Check out, of course, our store where we've got all our cool swag and other kinds of cool shirts and more. Check it all out right there. You can also check out our back catalog of shows from our Wednesday night for gunsinthe701.com, our 701 Nation with Jamie, and of course we've got that show as well, and we've got our back catalog for Badass of the Week, and of course we try to put this out for you every single week, time permitting, so we appreciate all the help you can give us, and we really thank you for taking the time to listen. And with that in mind, well, I got to tell you, until next week, from the gunsinthe701.com and all the gang, as my buddy Clay always says, keep your powder dry and stay safe, you bunch of badasses.
Hey, another good one, Mike. That was great.
You know, you think about it, the guy's in between Nazis and the commies, and he could have escaped at any time.
Yep.
But no, he stayed right there. And
There's nothing special about being American. None of you can define for me.
I just had a Biden moment, but
yeah.
No,
Yeah, it's all right.
That was good. That was great. I thought that was a really good badass. I really did.
One of the guys who broke into Auschwitz. Yeah, amazing. Anyway, so yeah, we've got another one coming up next week, and I've got one ready for you. I'll have one. I'll be here next week. It's the week after that. I think I'll be gone.
So you'll be on next Wednesday.
What's today's date? Or the 7th is yeah, I'll be on next Wednesday.
Okay.
And then the week after that, I'll be in New Orleans.
Gotcha. Yep. So, down there in New Orleans.
Yes. New Orleans.
All right. The Big Easy. Isn't that what they call that?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that,
I called one of my ex-girlfriends that too at one time.
So, hey, you know, our Rumble channel has been holding steady. So people migrated over there. That's good to see. And they're falling off a little bit here, but that happens. It's it's been a nice evening, and it's getting a little bit late. So I guess I don't have a heck of a lot more. I do want to show you this, though. Guy sent me this, Patrick Volmuth. Sorry, I just butchered his name. But he sent me, he goes, the machine gun was around long before the Constitution. He's right. It was called the Puckle gun.
Puckle gun.
1718. I was just doing a bunch of reading on it. I learned something new, and I almost wonder if that isn't the one we saw at the National Firearms Museum out there in NRA, because there was one that's similar, but that one was water cooled. I'll have to read more about this one. This looks like it's a crank.
Yeah,
and that came about long before the Gatling gun. So now I'm intrigued. I'm gonna have to look a little bit more on it. I think it's a pretty cool gun. It's NFA exempt, that's for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Puckle gun. I'm going to name all my guns the Puckle gun.
The Puckle gun. All of them, huh?
All of them.
And hey, tomorrow I got to remind everybody, don't go and see this commie show called Horizon or whatever it is. And this is Kevin Costner. I think it's his. I've called him Kevin Commie for a long time. Don't like him. Too bad, because he is a good actor. I own guns, and for myself, I hope that there are stricter gun laws. I'm all for it. So just keep that in mind. Don't go see this guy's movie. He's just not one of us. He's never going to be, and he's a leftist. Trust me on this. Yeah. Maybe Jamie can make him his celebrity shit stain or something, whatever he calls that.
One of the things, yeah.
But don't go see that thing. Just skip it. Costner, he made it. He narrates it. I can't imagine that it's going to be very good or even accurate. It's supposed to be based on the founding of our country, and so I just
he spent his $36 million of his own money on this one too. Good. So I'm kind of hoping.
I hope he doesn't get $1 million back. I hope nobody goes to it, but I know people will. Just like they won't leave CommieTube, they won't leave Facist-book, and we got to put up with the crap going on over there because nobody will leave.
That's right.
But anyway, I don't have a whole lot more because, like I said, we're getting already kind of late past what we usually do, and been a long day for me. I've spent a lot of hours in the tractor today, but hey, it's that time of year.
I actually got to head down to the Masonic Lodge because I've got to buff the floors. We got an event this weekend, and I want to get it done so I can chill out tomorrow. And so,
So you've been batching it all week, haven't you?
Yeah, my wife is in Virginia with our daughter, and they're just palling around. And
you should tell her to go to the NRA's National Firearms Museum.
Oh, they're far away from that. They're down in Colonial Williamsburg, so at William and Mary University. So it's
there's a lot of history around there.
I love
to get back out there just to go see some of that stuff. So, well, with that, everybody, I want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day. I know it's July 4th. I don't really use July 4th. This is it. Actually, I want to get down to it. Happy Treasonous Day.
Happy Treasonous Day.
Because I'm pretty sure if I'd have been alive, I'd have been right there signing with the rest of them. Provided to you, that's right. Enjoy your holiday. Provided to you by armed Americans. And with God's grace, we will continue to be a free nation. And with that, do you got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm pretty much good. I'm not going to be able to make it with you on Friday with Mitchell in the morning on KFYR. I've got to work at the morning show part of that week because everybody's taking off for the holiday.
And
so
that's okay. Either just be me and Todd, or I'll see what Jamie's up to. But we got her covered, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And we are back at our old time, so that's 8:15 in the morning Central, 7:15 Mountain Time. Mitchell in the morning.
So what are you saying, that the Twins aren't going to catch up this season? So
I don't know, but we got our time slot back, so I don't care.
Good enough for me. That's good enough for me.
That's right. And I don't know. I may not broadcast it on our stuff because that's where we got reported for cyberbullying. So I have no clue. Don't even get me started on that. I could talk for another 20 minutes on that. But
yeah, I know.
But with that, let's just end the program with a prayer. Probably more so than ever, we need to hear them. Lord, we want to thank you for the beautiful day we had today. We also want to thank you for the freedoms that we are enjoying because of your grace and your mercy. All things come from you, and we wouldn't enjoy what we have today if it wasn't for you and how you've blessed this nation. Continue to bless the nation. Watch over the men and women who protect it. And don't let us go quietly into the night without a fight. We know that everything is in your hands and we can trust it. So whatever you want is what's going to happen. We want everybody to stay safe through this holiday weekend, and no accidents, please. So watch over everybody. Please bless our nation and bless the men and women that protect it. In your name we pray. Amen. And I think that's very important. I think if we come back to God's word, that things would get better.
Yep.
But so many don't. But it's because of him. And sometimes you got to fight. And we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? But
yep.
For right now, go out and have some fun. I got relatives home from Illinois, so they really come from the depths of communism. So,
that's right.
Out there in Illinois. And we're going to go try to send, now that it rained, I probably can't hay tomorrow, so I guess might as well send some freedom seeds down the range. I think my niece and her fiance are planning to come out tomorrow, so we're going to do a little shooting. See if I can hit that 700-yard gong I got out there now. So I don't know what the wind's going to be like. We'll have to see. But all right, with that, everybody, I want to just wish everybody a happy Independence Day. Stay safe. Have some burgers. Keep us in business. Us, us beef producers, we need that.
Yep.
And just have a great time enjoying your freedoms. Otherwise, what do I always say? Keep your powder dry.
Dry.
See everybody next week.